Welcome back to Alabama Live. Next week, Montgomery Mayor Steven Reed will publicly address his goals and vision for the future with his annual State of the City address. He's joining us in studio to give us a preview. Mayor, thanks so much for joining us here on Alabama Live.
Thank you for having me.
I know you don't want to give away too much because you'll talk about all of this in your address, but give us a sneak peek. What do you plan on talking about? What are some of your goals this year?
Well, we want to talk about our goals for public safety, ways that we're investing to make the community safer. We just made interim police chief Jim Grayboy our permanent chief. So we're excited about some of the recruitment initiatives that he's doing to help us get back up to the numbers we'd like to see, but also some of the community building that he's doing as well. So between that and the community violence intervention initiative, which we launched with the county called Together We Rise, we think that's a very important part of making sure we get out in the city and we're proactive in making the city safer and working with everybody in the law enforcement community as well. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about some of our major initiatives to support small businesses and entrepreneurs. We certainly want to be mindful of the expansions that we've seen from some of our local businesses. Mobis launched a $52 million expansion last year, so we want to see more of that this year, but we also have some big fish that we're going after too, so we hope to have some of those announcements. And then around education, we want to continue the progress that Montgomery Public Schools has made over the last couple of years, and we think that we're going to have some positive announcements there to bring about, and then just solidifying that partnership with our education system, both public and private. And then finally, tourism. We're a city and a budget that lives off of our tourism dollars. We want people to continue coming here. So we'll talk about some exciting ideas of what we think lays the groundwork for the next decade or so as it relates to tourism and growing our economy here.
You mentioned all the things you want to touch on and focus on in that address. Looking back at 2024, how was that year to you as we were moving into 2025?
You know, I think 2024 was a pretty good year. You know, I think there are some areas certainly we want to see improve. We saw homicides reduced by 20%. We saw non-fatal shootings come down about 13 to 14%. And we saw overall crime really just stay flat. It was up about 2.8%. So we know that we can do a lot better in some of those areas. We want to continue to see those areas improve. We had $300 million invested in the city last year from an economic standpoint, but we'd like to see that grow this year as well. So those are some areas that we want to really improve upon. But I also think the initiative around our Montgomery Forward implementation, around community centers, around the completion of Fire Station 19 over on Court Street in West Fairview. When you consider the public-private partnerships that we have going in the Selma and Montgomery Civil Rights Trail, that is significant. So 2024 had some good points, it had some not so good points, but we think overall it was a pretty good year, and certainly when you look at our fiscal stability as a city, we're in the best position that the city has been in terms of our reserves, as well as in terms of our bond rating. Those are all pluses for the city, but we won't relax. We'll continue to set the bar high and continue to try to improve upon that in 2025.
State of the City address happening Tuesday. Are people invited to be in the audience?
They are absolutely invited. It's going to be at the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, One Festival Drive, right out in Blount Cultural Park. They can come in person. All of our city departments will be there giving updates, answering any questions that people may have. And we want young people to come out to the State of the City. We want them to understand what local government does and really what it means. There's so much talk around the presidential inauguration, but we want people to understand just how important local government is, not just here in Montgomery, but throughout the river region and throughout the state of Alabama. So we hope to have a great crowd. A lot of our partners we really want to see there, and we want to see our community members come out and just take part in what we have going on here in the city.
I love that you mentioned those departments because people think this is Mayor Reed's address, but this is the state of the city. Yes. So many people from the city will be there represented as well. Remind people how they can participate in the audience, how they can listen, or if they're not able to be in the audience, how they can watch it.
Sure. Well, Doors will open at 5 p.m. The State of the City will start at 6 p.m. At the Alabama Shakespeare Festival. People can come in person, or certainly they can watch it live and online. We'll be streaming it on Capital City Connection, our TV network, but also on our Facebook page and across all our social media platforms as well.
So you can come out in person. This is happening Tuesday next week. If you can't come out in person, the mayor just said that you can watch it live. They'll be streaming it live. This is the State of the City address as we look to the new year here in Montgomery. Mayor Reed, thanks so much for joining us here on Alabama Live. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.